Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, Opie discovers his wife's secretive messages with a man from her past, leading to suspicions. Despite her apology, she continues the communication. At the reunion, she disappears with the man, later claiming an innocent conversation. However, further revelations show planned infidelity. He decides to end the marriage, prioritizing the well-being of their children. He shares that moving on was the right choice, and he has found happiness with a new, faithful partner. The ex-wife faces the consequences of her actions and struggles to rebuild her life. Now let's get into the story. My wife was 35 and I was 36 when she was informed of an upcoming high school reunion. We arranged for a babysitter for that night and immediately started looking forward to it. I wouldn't know anyone, but it was really exciting for me to get to meet her old friends. I met my wife one fateful night in a bar that was on the same street we worked on. She worked as a hairdresser and I worked in a print shop. The first thing I noticed was how beautiful her hair was. Then I saw her eyes and I knew she was going to be a fascination of mine for an unimaginable length of time. The first thing she said to me was that I needed a haircut, but I'm getting off topic. We were married and welcomed 2 kids into the world. Our marriage wasn't perfect and there were a few times we considered taking time apart. But as soon as it came time to pack a bag, neither of us could do it. There wasn't any infidelity at this point, so it felt like any disagreement or issue could be resolved and worked through. That's how marriage is supposed to work, isn't it? Our kids had a good childhood and never had to hear loud arguments. They were 13 and 16 when we started planning to attend her high school reunion. 2 weeks before the reunion, my wife added many high school friends to her Facebook. More than one of these were men, but most of them were married as well. I had no suspicions of anything until I heard the ding start. Multiple times throughout the time we were home from work together, I heard her phone ding. I started thinking I heard it when I was in the shower or on the toilet. I heard it while she was cooking, and as we said goodnight to our kids, it was getting obviously excessive, and she knew it. I finally asked her who was messaging her so often, and of course, she said it was high school friends talking about the reunion. Fair enough. She put her phone on vibrate, so it seemed like the messages suddenly stopped after she fell asleep. One night, I heard her phone vibrate. I stared at the ceiling for 30 minutes before I heard it again and gave in. What I read was unnerving. It was a string of messages between her and a man that would be at the high school reunion. In one of the messages, she mentioned how wonderful and exciting it will be to see him again. In another, she asked if any fun he'd had over the years compared to what they did when they were young. He replied that no, he was only able to have that level of fun with her. She responded to that by saying that perhaps they'd have fun at the reunion or sometime after that. He pointed out that this sounded like she'd want to keep seeing him after the reunion, and she didn't deny it. Well, I confronted her about it, and she apologized profusely. She said he seemed lonely and like he needed friends. I told no excuse to be talking to him about having fun or continuing to see each other after the reunion. I also asked if they'd been intimate in the past, and she said no. She didn't appear to be lying, but knowing what I know now, I'd say she most definitely was. She asked me if we could still go to the reunion, and I said yes. Figuring she hadn't really broken my trust at this point, and I'd be there to watch everything. Little did I know she continued talking to that man, maybe even more than before. She had her hair and nails done before the night out. During the night in question, it took the man a few minutes to get up the nerve to reintroduce himself to my wife while I stood beside her. I hated the feeling he gave me. He could barely look at me, and I could see how desperate he was to connect with my wife. She looked at him similarly, but with more care about me. She introduced me kindly, but that didn't faze this man. He sat close enough to maintain conversation with her, and throughout the night everyone drank except me. My wife was visibly intoxicated by the time I had to go to the bathroom. I told her I'd be right back. When I came back out, she was gone and so was he. I looked around and asked one of the women from the reunion where they went. She said they stepped outside for a cigarette. My wife didn't smoke, but I thought maybe she just stepped outside to keep him company. When I went outside, I didn't see them anywhere. I checked the inside of all the cars in the parking lot. I tried calling her cell phone and she didn't answer. I was stumped and angry. I waited 45 minutes before finally getting a text from her. It read that she'd agreed to go with the man to the gas station down the road, but since they were close to our house, he was planning to drop her off there. I knew this was bullshit. I arrived home 10 minutes later to find that the babysitter had left and our kids were asleep. My wife was asleep on the couch, wearing only her panties. I woke her up immediately and demanded an explanation. She was so out of it, but honestly, a part of me believed she was faking it in her incomprehensible way. She tried to say that he gave her a ride home because he wanted to talk about stuff he was going through, trying to get more out of her while she was like this was impossible. So I waited until the morning. Before she woke up, our teenagers told me about the night they had with the babysitter. I could hardly pay attention, but it was good to know they were asleep when she arrived home and didn't see anything odd. As soon as my wife got up, I asked her about what happened. She complained that her memory was shot and said she felt really bad. Really bad for leaving me there and really bad for getting so drunk. Well, a few hours later, she broke down and told me she just remembered what really happened. I think she just knew I was going to find out somehow. She told me he asked her to come outside with him and talk, and she agreed. He invited her into his car because it was cold, and she didn't see the harm in that. Then she said he forced her to kiss and have intimate with him. She was crying, but I swore it was because she was caught. I told her to let me check her phone, and she tried to refuse and make excuses. I grabbed it from her and locked myself in the bathroom. Lo and behold, she had time to text the man and say what they did was a mistake. But before that, days before the reunion, messages proved they planned to sneak away at some point, have intimate, and even considered the possibility of her spending the night at his house. This was it. Our marriage was over. When I opened the bathroom door, she was ghostly white and staring at me as if her life depended on it. I told her we were done, that I wouldn't be able to be with her again. Knowing she planned and went through with cheating on me, she sobbed and almost inaudibly pleaded for my forgiveness. I told her that although she was drunk when it happened, she planned this out beforehand. She decided to give herself away even though she was faithfully mine for years. I lost all motivation to protect her as my wife because she chose to invite another man in. I didn't think she could feel any worse, but she did. After I said that, she curled up in a ball, crying her heart out while I did her a few favors. I arranged for the kids to have a sleepover at their friend's house, so that they may not be as traumatized later in life. I packed as much of my wife's clothes and belongings as possible. I called her parents and informed them of what was happening, suggesting they come pick up their daughter. They did, since she refused or was unable to get in their car. I put her in, followed by her stuff. Her parents tried to apologize to me and talk about it, but I didn't acknowledge them beyond hello and goodbye. My wife tried more than once to get out of the car, but they warned her that if she didn't come with them now, they wouldn't allow her to stay with them until she found somewhere else to go. Hearing that sent her into a trance. She knew her life as she knew it was over. She sat still like a statue as they drove her away through the divorce and custody hearings. She was crying as silently as possible. Our teens chose to live with me, continuing to live in the same house and attend the same school. Their mom had the decency to admit her wrongdoing and go with me to the best of her ability. Since years have passed, I'm able to basically be friends with her. I'm thankful to myself every day that I didn't stay with her and try to work it out. It would have been so much worse for me, better for her. She chose this path, and I went willingly. She hated it every step of the way, but maybe she deserved that. She's still living with her parents, even though she's moved out more than once since all this happened. I guess she's had trouble finding happiness after her family life ended. I remarried 1 year ago, and she's a wonderful, faithful woman so far. I wanted to share my story so that others going through some horrible, life-altering reality will maintain hope. Today's second story. In this story, Opie has been working late to spend time with family, only to catch his wife cheating with her affair partner. He took advice from others, secured finances, and found evidence of a 7-year affair. He kicked his wife out, has custody of the eldest, and is awaiting paternity test results for the younger two. His wife threatens legal action. Battles led to the younger two being with the affair partner's parents. Now let's get into the story. For the past several weeks, I have been working late nights in the office in order to finish work early so I can have breakfast with the kids and do the school runs. Tonight, the boss let me finish halfway through my shift due to the amount of work I have put in on a project that is now completed. On the drive home, I was looking forward to us time with the little ones in bed. Well, I walked into my wife having close with some bloke on the sofa. Deer in headlight moment, I grabbed my keys, and now I am in the office wondering what the hell I am going to do now. My phone is blowing up with calls and texts from my wife telling me to come back so she can explain. I just can't. I am so pissed off right now. Never thought she would cheat on me. We have been happily married for over a decade. Sure, we have had our arguments over the years, but what married couple hasn't? I've given her everything she asked for along with 3 beautiful kids. Advice is needed, please. I am at a loss for what to do. Update. Although it's only been 9 days since I posted about catching my wife having intimate with her affair partner on the sofa, I know a lot of you have asked to be kept updated. Before I update you, I would like to thank you all for your advice and support. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to respond to your comments due to the shit show that is currently happening now. Well, as you can imagine, the shit has now hit the fan. I have no idea where to start. Well, I am currently off work and will be until I am ready to go back. A few of you asked why I didn't smash the guy's face in, and it's mainly because if I got arrested, then social services would have gotten involved in the event of a divorce that would be used against me. I took your advice to get all bank accounts in order and removed my wife from the kids' trust funds and my own account straight away in case she tried to empty them. She has her own account for the money she earns from work? Well, she did indeed try to empty all of them 2 days after my visit. FYI, I have already paid the bills for the house and cars days before this crap show happened. I have been to the doctor to be checked for STIs literally days after I posted and have been given the all clear. This was followed by a long meeting with a team of divorced lawyers to find out what is to happen next. Being a computer technician, I have remote access to my home computer and a secondary laptop that is used for schoolwork, and I found that my dear wife had left herself locked into Facebook, and I stumbled across messages upon messages to her affair partner. Photos, sexting, paid bills for hotels and meetup arrangements, etc. Turns out this affair had been going on for 7 years now. Her affair partner is her best friend's little brother, and she has been having intimate with him since he was 19. All this has been given to the lawyers as there is no going back. Now I have to wait for a few months to start the process as there is currently a bad luck due to the pandemic. Also, all of my trust in her has been completely destroyed and no amount of couples counseling will save this marriage. I returned home 4 days ago, packed her bags, and kicked her cheating arse out. The kids are with me, and after a difficult conversation with all 3 of them, they are now fully aware that Mummy is not coming back, but they can all still see her. While I am angry with her, I won't be that parent that holds the kids to ransom. My in-laws and family are fully aware of what their daughter's sister has done, and her relationship with her family is now strained. Her bestie slated me on Facebook about walking out on her and the kids, but my brother posted the link to Reddit on Facebook, so now everyone knows, and the post was taken down. As for my wife, I haven't spoken one word to her since that night, and all communication will be through the lawyers. Now I have text messages from her basically saying that she is going to ruin me in court by saying shit like I was abusive, etc. The lawyers have all copies. I have deleted Facebook due to her small circle of friends sending vile messages for ruining her life. I'm currently awaiting on results of the paternity test to see if the kids are mine. The affair partner demanded to be tested in case the younger 2 are his, but for now they are with me as my wife is living with the affair partner. I took 2 tests. The first was tossed due to a contamination issue. I received the results 2 weeks ago, and well, I have gone from having 3 kids to 1 biological child, the eldest. In those 2 weeks, my ex's affair partner's parents managed to get emergency custody of the younger 2 due to the fact I am not a blood relative. I tried so hard to fight for them in court. I am trying to be strong for my son, but the rug has been fully pulled from under our feet. I have put the house on the market to sell, and I'm currently renting a small 2-bedroom apartment because I can't live there anymore. Everything reminds me of the kids. Both my son and I are currently in therapy together. He is working through trust issues with his mother, and not seeing his siblings every day has taken its toll.